We need it. Oxygen. It's why we breathe.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Time for another episode here of Small Biz Stories. And with us today, we've got another Jersey boy, which I like because this is the Garden State and this is my home. So we've got Michael Silverman, who is the owner of Silver Lining Insurance Agency. So, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thrilled to be here.
Tell folks what you're good at, other than the geography of New Jersey. We just went through it pre-show. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know that town, that borough. Yeah. Tell us what you're good at.
Well, as you said, I'm a Jersey boy through and through. What am I good at? I love insurance. As silly as that sounds, this is what I have a passion for. At Silver Lining, our tagline actually is protecting what you value most. And it really doesn't matter what that is. It could be a home, it could be a car, it could be a piece of jewelry, it could be your income. Obviously, it could be your life. It could be anything. But what is that 2 o'clock in the morning thing that keeps you awake and is worrying you? That's what we want to protect.
Gotcha. And then just you talked about, insuring your jewelry. Just to point out to folks who are listening here right now, with Kim Kardashian's trial ongoing in Paris, she's wearing $8 million in bling today to make a statement. And oh, by the way, that 20-carat ring that you all stole was insured. So I bought a $22 million upgrade. Right there you go. The power of insurance.
Cash is king.
Well, that's just it. So one of the reasons why I was really excited to have you on the show, insurance is just one of those, necessary evils. It really, really is. People lament, oh my God, I've got to do my monthly payments. I got to do this. I got to figure out the terms, the policies, but they really can pay out. I understand that you were responsible for getting a $5 million payout.
Well, we've had a number of them, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because that means someone somewhere had a problem.
That's a huge loss. I mean, that's just like what that person has gone through. I mean, that's just devastating.
Unfortunately, now we write insurance in all 50 states of the union. So a number of months ago, your viewers will know that, hey, there were all those fires in California.
Yeah.
People lost homes. People lost, fortunately, there were not as many numbers of loss of life. There were some, but people just lost everything materialistic to them. And it was very interesting in my conversation with some of our clients that lived there and did lose their homes. Are you going to go back? Right. And one of them said to me, Michael, it's really difficult to go back because this wasn't a house fire. I said, explain that to me. He goes, there's no school, there's no pizzeria, there's no bank, there's no park, there's no community. It wasn't just a house fire. House fires are terrible. If no one gets hurt, it's just stuff. It was very interesting in the conversation that I was having with this person about what they're going to do next. So what we do, as I said earlier, we protect what you value most. Fortunately, in this family, no one was injured. No one was home at the time. They were actually on the East Coast. But their home is gone. It was over $5 million worth of damage. And we take it one day at a time. And our number one goal, is to make sure the family, whatever number of people in the family, they're safe, they're protected, and they are able to be somewhere where they can be together.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what's key. We don't want to hear about the loss of life and human life, pet life, all of it, right? I mean, the memories that are lost, everything that's lost with a house fire, which I think is one of the most devastating consequences you can have, floods, all of that, all these natural disasters. But let's bring it back to talk about insurance, about small businesses and that kind of thing, because one of the things that I've encountered through all of the experiences and conversations I've had with small business owners and entrepreneurs is a ton of them aren't insured. And I look at that and I think, wow. I mean, first there's the soapbox where most of them just still use Gmail and they don't use a professional business address. There's that piece. but they don't have insurance. Talk to us about some of the risks in which you're seeing out there with respect to how folks are potentially vulnerable and putting their families at risk without having insurance to their business.
Well, by not having insurance, you are basically saying to your entity, your business, or your family, we're going to wing it. We're just going to, we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, that can cripple you either emotionally or economically or both. Why do people go without insurance? Sometimes cost. Sometimes they have difficulty securing insurance. Sometimes they just don't know that they need to have the protection, or they don't have an advisor walking them through the process. Insurance on a whole is not difficult. It's tedious because everybody gets those policies in the mail. They're this thick. Who's going to read through all those things? That's just absolutely crazy and nuts, right? Who's going to read all that? What I try to bring to my prospects, my friends, my family, my clients, is that's what you have me for. This is all I do for a living. I tease with my sister, who is an oncologist. I sell insurance. I don't cure cancer. Okay? Right. But I truly believe what I'm doing in my career, in my livelihood, is part of God's work. And it sounds silly when you say that, because what am I doing? When am I needed the most? When there's a problem. And that's what I love to do. I love reviewing coverages with people and saying, let's talk about this section right here. Let's talk about it. Why do you have it? Sometimes I don't know. Or something, because I had this or I had that. And the toughest conversation is, why do you not have it? And frequently, the most frequent answer is very simple. I don't know.
Right.
And
And
that's
again,
frustrating.
it's the cost analysis. So you brought up one thing. It's a burning question. Why do insurance companies have to mail that bloody 6-inch packet of paper where it's the Deforestation of America plan? Why? Why can't we just get to the place where they're digital copies?
Well, there are digital copies now. That is one advantage. But even in the digital copies in a PDF, it's still going to be 200 pages. Okay? But now, why? And I say this out of love to my friends in the industry, as well as my wife, who is one, lawyers. So it's the lawyers. We have to put everything in So like anything else, it's protection on the other side. Oh, on this page you said this, but on this page. The problem that I believe in insurance is that, as you say, the 6-inch document, it's not in English. It's in insurance.
Right.
And that's a foreign language to many, many people.
That's right. And so we like to start our shows off here with a tip, and coming up front, like early in the show. The tip is, Michael, not buy insurance and buy insurance for me, right? We know this, but what can small business owners take away from your expertise and say, look, this is one of the things I really advise you to do. This can really help you long term. What is that?
It is really simple. Thank you for that question. And as you said, it's not about, yes, you must buy insurance. You must buy insurance from me. It's find a professional that you are comfortable with speaking to. Ask a friend. Get a referral if you don't know an insurance person, because you're really good at what you do. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an Indian chief, you're a banker, you're a this. Doesn't matter what you are. The insurance professional is the insurance professional. That's what he does or she does well. Find someone that you enjoy speaking with, that comes recommended, and is willing to sit and chat with you either face-to-face in person, via video call, anything. Relationships, I have found, are everything in this business. And I tease with the people in my team, selling insurance is easy. It's about having the people to talk to. I want to find people that want to be helped. I don't want to cram insurance down someone's throat. I want them to want to learn. Now, there are always times, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I have to get, I have to get. Of course, let's get it done. But with your permission, we're going to go back and educate. Because education is power. Knowledge is power. So my number one tip across the board for all types of insurance, for business or personal, find someone that you are open to speaking with in the insurance world so that they can guide you through the myriad of options, premiums, types of policies, because not everyone needs every type of policy.
That's right. And then we have questions, right? I mean, I know one of the questions I've recently had. So I love my insurance company. They're fantastic. I work with CNA and they're terrific. I get amazing customer support and service, and they answer my dumb questions. And one of the questions, because this has come up a couple of times with some of the larger boards of education clients and that we have, and we have to have hired, non-insured auto insurance. And I'm like, what? We deliver educational content virtually. What do we need? Uninsured motorist automobile. We don't have a company vehicle. I think it's insane. Talk to us about why you think clients are forcing that on small business owners. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. So it's the language around it is called hired and non-owned auto policy. Okay. And very simply, first of all, it is in most businesses very, very inexpensive to include. Okay. Now, what is it? You're right. My business doesn't own a car. I don't know. Okay. You're right. It doesn't. If you, as the owner of your business, are going to go to a conference, go to a meeting with a client, a vendor, you're driving along and you're in a terrible automobile accident and you hurt someone, the lawyer for that other person is going to find out, oh, where were you going? What were you doing? Oh, we have a deep pocket. We have a business. Now, but what does the business have to do with anything? I was just driving, but you were driving on business time. You were in the course of business. So what hired and non-owned auto policy says, that's what it sounds like. Hired, rent a car, Uber, Uber, or any other kind of ride share, a taxi, a limousine. Non-owned auto. If I'm driving to see a client in a car that Michael Silverman owns, not Silver Lining, but Silver Lining gets sued, where's the protection? It's in this non-owned auto coverage. Silver Lining is protected by it, not Michael. Michael is protected by his personal auto policy. It sounds silly. It's belts and suspenders, if you will. But what happens very simply is the entity is protected in the event that a driver in the course of business has an accident.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for that explanation. Like I said, it's always it's thrown me for a loop for years. I'm like, why? I really? Anyway, there we go. It's about questions like this and having the chance to have dialogue. So when you think about business schools and that today, what do you think's missing from the curriculum based on the conversations you're having with clients and say, geez, the business school should have taught you whatever.
How to begin a business, how to run a business has nothing to do with studying how Kmart or Coca-Cola, a case study. No, it's how does a small business owner begin? What are the things that are needed for a business owner to start their business, to run their business? Most businesses in the United States are anywhere from 1 to 10 employees. Small business, mom and pop, if you will. And you know what? What's the number one job of a small business owner? Sell, sell, sell.
Of course.
Right. Got to pay the bills. Got to pay the insurance bills. But very, very simply, what else is needed to start a business? So business schools don't teach business. we say this, we work with a number of physicians of different types. And they all say the same thing. They didn't teach us that in medical school. No, they teach you doctor in medical school. They don't teach you how to run a business. And a medical practice, and I'm not talking about the big medical practices affiliated with hospital. I'm talking about Dr. Smith and maybe 2 partners and 4 or 5 administrative people and nurses. That's a business. It's a medical practice, but it's a business. And they're not taught that. So what a great question of what is the business schools not teaching? They don't teach business. They don't
Which
teach
is kind of an
accounting.
interesting comment to make, given that business is in their title as business school. This is what they do, right? And that's why I like to ask the question, because there are so many folks who are coming out of these different schools or at whatever level, full college, MBA level, like so graduate work, down to associates level, or even accelerator programs where they don't have a formal education in business, but they've worked their way through an accelerator to learn, oh, how do I launch? How do I operate as an entrepreneur? How do I get my business out there? And I've done several myself, and you see so many gaps. Every program has something really terrific about it. But of course, with everything, right, there's always a gap. We can finger point and say, like, oh, all of my stuff and what I do. Of course, oh, Laurelyn, you could do that better, or you're missing this. Standard, right? Can't patch all the holes. So I think, anyway, I'm always intrigued by it because it's what people are either seeing, through their lens. Now, let's flip things back around to what you're seeing here with respect to New Jersey and some of the other states. So we've got a lot of our listeners who are in New Jersey because this is where I am, but we're got listeners actually all over the world. So let's talk about insurance in New Jersey. Anything weird and wonky about New Jersey, this very heavy union state, and a few other things that we could add?
New Jersey right now is going through a process that no one knows about because we don't really have wildfires. We don't have earthquakes. So one of the biggest issues, just using California as the example, and this came to light with the fires, why did so many insurance companies leave California over the last 2 or 3 years? It had nothing to do with fire, earthquake, mudslides, anything like that. It was all legislative. The legislature in California said, hey, we're going to protect our constituency. We're not going to let the big bad insurance company increase premiums. Okay. So what did the big bad insurance companies do? Thank you. We're leaving the state. New Jersey's going through that right now. It just doesn't get a lot of PR. There are many insurance companies right now today, May 2025, that are not writing homeowners insurance in New Jersey. They'll write the auto insurance. And it's ironic because years ago, getting auto insurance in New Jersey was impossible. Now it's simple. Now it's not as bad priced as it was years ago. We used to be the worst state in the union for automobile insurance. But most of the issues around insurance companies and their pricing is legislative. Now, New Jersey, one of the densest populated states in the union. So you and I are living in northern New Jersey. There are more cars and drivers per capita in our 25-mile radius than in many states cumulatively. When there are that many cars in that small space, guess what happens? They hit each other. Okay? Hopefully, fender benders, no one's injured. Stuff happens. So that's why in New Jersey the rates are a little wonky.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, it's all about claims and how can the insurance company rate the potential loss. And that's what the insurance company, when one purchases insurance, one is saying to the insurance company, I'm going to transfer my risk, my economic risk to you. For that pleasure, I'm going to pay you an annual premium, an annual cost. So if I have that big accident, you're going to pay.
And that, well, that's exactly how it works. And having felt the pain of trying to get car insurance and affordable insurance, I mean, it's insane. But as far as the comments go that no fires, New Jersey was on fire. Ocean County was burning this year
Yes, it
again, just
was.
about a month or so ago, and it was last year. And Newark Airport, of course, is a dumpster fire with respect to so many things from safety to the runway to oh my goodness. So there's a lot of fires burning here.
New
And
Jersey is
as
burned,
a
yes.
driver, yes, on the turnpike who goes up and down to the shore to wherever in business from the northern tip. I'm at, what everybody still calls the Tappan Zee Bridge. I'm way, way, way up with folks up there. When you get on that turnpike, I don't call this the Garden State, it's the tailgate state. Everybody is up in your business and you're going, 75, 10, 65, 5, 60, not like it's just, that's why everybody wears the bumper buddies right on the back of the cars. You need it. I'd never seen them till I moved here. I was like, it's a bumper buddy. Yeah, I get it. It's a rubber flap, folks, for those of you that don't know. You hang it from your trunk to try to absorb a little bit of the shock from the light fender benders. It's not going to do jack when it comes to a high speed accident, but for the little fender bender touch and goes, you might have a chance if someone's on their cell phone and not paying attention behind you, right? Yeah. Yeah. So let's bring this around to a couple of things then. So when a small business owner is looking at shopping around trying to find insurance, what kinds of terms should they be looking for and make sure that they have in their policy? What are the must-haves, Michael?
Unequivocally, number one, for whatever industry you're in, whatever type of, when we're talking about property insurance, replacement cost protection. What is that? New item for the old one that was destroyed. So if I have just use a home, for example, or an office, if the desk or my couch is damaged, I don't want a 6-year-old desk or couch. I want a new one. So no depreciation. Some people will see on their policy actual cash value, ACV. You do not want that if you can avoid it. Because now they're going to take my sofa. Okay, I bought it 7 years ago for $2,000. What's the value of it today? Zero. Right. So I get very little replacement cost. That's the key to property insurance. In business insurance for liability, you want to make sure if, again, every industry is a little different, policies are different. So we're having this conversation in a generic form. Per occurrence, not claims made. Per occurrence is saying, when did it happen? Okay, so per occurrence. So I have $1 million of coverage per occurrence. So if I have a claim on Tuesday, I got $1 million of coverage. If unfortunately I have another claim the following Thursday, I still have another $1 million. Now, in policies, there are things called aggregates and things like that. We have to look at those to make sure how many you can have in a given year. But claims made is, we want to stay away from that if possible. We'll see more of that in the professional liability, the errors and omission, malpractice coverages. So, but for general liability, which is what most people carry, if you rent office space, your landlord will require general liability coverage. May require others as well, but the number one thing in the lease will read, you are required to have general liability policy. Okay, so those are the key things: replacement costs and liability protection.
What about umbrella policies? I've seen for the last few years, I mean, I've been buying insurance for a long time, on personal, on home, on auto, on business. But it seems that there's been a tremendous push in the last few years. Oh, you've got to add the umbrella policy. What are your thoughts on umbrella policies, Michael?
Well, I'm glad to hear that you were pushed, because we've been pushing forever. Umbrella liability policies, personal or commercial, doesn't matter. They're vital. They're vital in your insurance portfolio, and here's why. You have a certain amount of insurance on your automobile policy. You have a certain amount of liability insurance on your homeowner's policy. Rarely is it enough. So I'm driving along and we're on the turnpike and you don't have your bumper buddy and I do rear end you. And you know what? It's not about the car anymore. I injured you. You're hurt. My $250,000 or $500,000 of liability protection may not be enough to pay your damages, your medical bills, etc., depending upon what state you're in. An umbrella liability policy is just that. It's an umbrella. It goes up and above. It's just like in a rainstorm. It covers you. It goes over your auto and your home and your motorcycle and your jet skis and all your toys. It gives you additional liability protection up and above. Now, what we try to tell people, you're not getting different or more coverage. You're just getting higher limits of protection. So if something is covered under your auto policy for liability, it will be covered under your umbrella. If it's not covered under your auto policy, you can't go to the umbrella to get coverage. Okay? Why is it important? It gets you millions of dollars of protection for a significantly lower premium. So on your auto policy, why wouldn't I just buy more coverage on my auto policy? Why do I need another policy? Two reasons. One, it costs much, much more on the auto policy. Much, 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 much more. And then the umbrella goes over the auto and the car. I'm sorry, the auto and the home. Your auto policy just covers your auto. So the umbrella gives you broader protection while going to millions of dollars for small annual premiums.
I think our listeners will really appreciate that explanation because it was in very simple terms and it's nice to hear. It's like, oh, okay, so what do I do? And then of course folks can make an informed decision, but that's the whole point of this show, right? This podcast. We aim to educate, we aim to entertain, and we aim to shine the spotlight on other small business owners because there's a lot of things that are challenging with respect to the path of entrepreneurship, right? It ain't easy, as they say. And so we try to find ways to help and lift it. So as we're wrapping up our show, Michael, where and how can folks find you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Loved it. Love to come back and do it again. People can always find me on our website, www.slia.agency. Silver Lining Insurance Agency, SLIA. You can find me on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on LinkedIn. Michael Silverman, Silver Lining Insurance. We're there. Very simple. And if you're in Midtown Manhattan, come see us. We're on 49th and Madison. Love to have you come up. And what I really want to stress, something that you had asked before, the fact that I am a small business owner running an insurance agency gives me some great advantages when I'm meeting with small business owners who sell widgets. Doesn't matter what we sell. We're all selling. The product's important. That may come with some other scenarios, but we're all business owners. And that's the best. That's the fun of what I get to do for a living. I'm seeing people in all industries, in all areas of the United States, and we're just having conversation about what's important to them and what worries them. And that's what we do.
And that's just it, because there are a lot of worries, right? We live in this era of chaos, of uncertainty, folks that have supply chain challenges, tariffs are on, off, all of this sort of nonsense, right? How do you get through and be predictable? Okay, last question. If we were to look into the closet of this Jersey boy here living by the oranges, and for all of you know, New Jersey and the jokes about exits. Yeah, okay.
145, by the way.
There you go. If we looked into your closet and there was a pair of footwear that says, "This is Michael Silverman. This personifies who you are." Describe, what are we looking at?
Well, there'll be two. There'll be two because there are two sides to Michael Silverman. There's the business and then there's the cash. And I'm a sneaker guy. I love my sneakers. You know, put me in a good pair of Brooks and I'm out for a run. And then I have my nice shoe. Pre-COVID, I was a suit and tie guy every day. So I had my suits, my ties, my shoes, always, always, always to a high shine.
Of
That was
course,
always,
right?
that's for me.
It's that
That was always
Midtown Manhattan look.
that was always very, very important to me. I do miss. So it's funny. I'm looking at myself in the screen here as we're talking. I was like, and since COVID, we wear quarter zips, we wear open collars. I wear suits with open collars. I miss my ties. They're all in my closet. They're on a great rotating thing. I love my ties. Unfortunately, I only wear ties when I go to funerals these days. So to me, it's about the quality shoe for comfort. I was taught that. It's very funny that you bring this up because I'm now in the business. So August will be my 39th anniversary selling insurance. I happen to be third generation in the business.
Excellent. Congratulations. That's a big
Thank you.
milestone.
Thank you. And I was taught early on, when you buy a pair of shoes for comfort, you got to do a lot of walking, Silverman. Make sure you can walk in the shoes. So there it is. Sneakers, dress shoes, but always to a high shine.
Excellent. So, Michael, given the reasons why you wear ties these days, we hope you don't have to break them out too often. And with that, folks, Michael Silverman of Silver Lining Insurance Agency, live from Jersey. Thank you for being on the show, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?